So today I want to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is marketing. But first of all, let me guess. You are doing loads of marketing. You're posting, you're emailing, you've tried content marketing, you've tried different offers, and you're doing all of the things, and yet nothing consistently converts. Some things work for a bit, then they stop. Other things never really get off the ground. And if you're left thinking, is this just me? Is this just me? And you're nodding along saying yes through gritted teeth, then I've got your back. Hey, I'm Sean, marketing and agency veteran turned business strategist, helping founders build businesses that actually support the life they want. So back to marketing. I love marketing because when it's good, it's good. But when it's not good and it's not working, it can be so frustrating as a business owner. So just quick heads up, I'm making an assumption today that if you're watching this video, you're a service provider, consultant, or coach, and that's what you do. So this video is not about products, e-commerce, or anything like that. I thought I would just get that out the way so that I don't waste your time if you've landed on this video somehow. So back to marketing. I'm not just talking about marketing, but the actual marketing that does what it is supposed to do for your business. And marketing has got one job: to get and keep clients. That's it. And what I see a lot of the time with really smart, capable business owners who are really good at what they do is that they get busy with marketing, but they don't ever find momentum. They're trying to do lots of things, but nothing compounds. And every idea or every shiny object just feels like it's adding work and not adding more return. So if you're thinking, you feel like you're always tweaking things, you're not entirely sure what's working, you don't know what to double down on, and you can't tell if your marketing is broken or if you're just doing something wrong or you're just missing something, I totally understand how absolutely exhausting that uncertainty is. So I want to help you to look at how you can actually triple your marketing impact and a few things that you're going to do. So I'm going to do this in 3 parts, and as you know, these are freeform videos, so I'm just going to go where the wind blows. Here's something to first of all mention. This is not work. Your marketing is not working, not because you're inconsistent. It's not because you lack discipline or you're not trying hard enough or because you haven't tried the latest shiny object. Because if those things were the answer, you would probably have already solved it. You would have already nailed your marketing, and that's, by the by. But here's what might actually be happening. Your marketing needs to have strong pillars. It needs to have a very strong backbone. And without a core offer, a value ladder, and a way of testing what's working, tracking what's working, then effort will just keep you busy instead of being useful. So things happen, but nothing compounds. It's time to change that for your business. Marketing impact comes from alignment, not necessarily volume. And when your marketing is doing 3 jobs at once, then everything changes. So let's have a look at the first shift that you need to make. If you look at your marketing and I can't really tell what you sell, then neither can your audience. Okay, I'm teaching you to suck eggs here at this point. But tripling your impact starts with having one clear offer, one clear message, not 10 different things, and not if we do a bit of this and we do a bit of that, just one primary outcome that you help your ideal clients to achieve. Now look, the reason that I focus on this is because as small business owners, practically speaking, we don't have Super Bowl budgets. So your marketing has to hook people in and hook people in for one message, one offer. Once they get in the door, then you can upsell them, you can downsell them, and depending on your services, you can then create lifetime value with that customer. So I'm going to use Apple as the analogy. And I know I've just said that we don't have Super Bowl budgets, but just go with me because it's a simple analogy. I always say to clients that when we create their value ladder, which is a really important part of the work that I do, I always say we've got to pick one thing that we can market and sell. It doesn't mean that you're going to push people away for your other offers. It just means that we have one thing to focus on. So back to my analogy of Apple. At one point, and I don't have the up-to-date statistics, but at one point, the iPhone was their biggest revenue source. So they focused on selling the iPhone, the big presentations, the big launches in the Apple stores, and they would get people into Apple, get people bought into the brand from an iPhone. Once you become an iPhone owner, then the next minute you've got an iPad, you've got a MacBook, you've got earphones, you've got a watch, you've got all the things that it looks like Apple has thrown up in your office. So the point is that we focus on one thing. Once we get people in, then you can move them up and down your value ladder to create that lifetime value. Your content, your ads, your email, your lead magnets should all be warming people up for that one thing. Once they come in for that one thing, then you need to know where you're pushing them to next. Everything else supports that, but it just gives your marketing a clear focus. Now, shift number 2. A lot of the times marketing fails because it asks people to make too big of a leap too quickly. You've got a cold audience and you're trying to get them to straight away book a call, but there's no trust that's been built yet. There's no context, there's no safety for them. So the value ladder that I mentioned in the first step is what can actually help you to fix that. So like I said, people come in for an iPhone, but then they end up with an iPad and a MacBook and an iMac and all the things. So when you get people to come in, the first thing that you sell them, you want there to be low friction. You want to have a clear problem that you solve for that one thing, and then a clear next step. And this is where if you have lead magnets in your business, or you have, micro offers and that kind of thing, it can really help. So in my business, for example, I've got an ebook called Marketing Momentum. People get the ebook, then they might go to the next step, and then they might sign up for my Nail It and Scale It program. There's a clear progression. Now, don't get me wrong, you will sometimes have those clients that come straight in and they're high action takers and they want the all singing, all dancing right from day one. And that's fantastic. Some of my best clients have actually come in from a $7 ebook, and then they've booked a power hour, then they've signed up for the next thing, and then they've become one-to-one clients. So marketing starts working when it meets people where they are, where it's a low friction thing and you're not focusing on where you want them to be. Sometimes we have such an attachment to sales or an attachment to the high ticket sale that we forget about this really important step. I seriously could go on and on about this. In fact, if you gave me 3 hours, I could talk about how your marketing meets people where they are, because there's a 3% rule that holds back your marketing. And I'm going to try and explain it actually in the shortest way possible. And I might possibly do another video on this and do a really deep dive on the 3% rule, because this is the foundation of marketing and it's everything that I have learned in 20 years. So very quickly speaking, if I were to fill a stadium, I don't know what city you're in, where you're watching, but if I was to fill the Benfica Stadium in Lisbon with all of your ideal clients, and that stadium represented your whole market, the whole market that you can potentially sell your services to. And if I stood in the middle of that stadium and I said, hey, anyone who's looking for a house, raise your hand. 3% of people would raise their hand and say, yeah, I'm actually looking for a house. And if I said, what about a new pair of trainers? What about a website? What about anything really? There's this 3% rule that 3% of your entire audience is looking, they have a pain, they know what the problem is, and they are solution aware, and they're actually looking for a provider or a vendor to help them solve that problem. Now, most marketing focuses on that 3%, but you're missing the entire rest of the triangle, the entire rest of the market. And so when you have marketing strategies, short-term strategies that are there so that you can be there in front of the 3% when they're actually looking for you, but you also have long-term strategies that take care of the rest of the stadium who aren't interested, who aren't looking for a solution, who maybe don't even know about the problem yet. That's when you can create what I call a marketing pantheon. As I said, I might do a deeper dive video into that because it's a massive topic and it's something that I really enjoy, because if you can understand that 3% concept, your marketing and your view of marketing will completely and utterly change. So I will do another video, but in the meantime, I'll put a resource in the description for you to download the Marketing Momentum ebook where I talk about the 3% rule. Shift number 3, high impact marketing is not creative chaos. What I mean by that is you have to think of it like a scientist, somebody who's going to get into the lab and start structured testing. You're not trying things, you're testing messages, you're testing offers, you're testing which journey is going to work for your ideal clients. And when something works, you will know exactly why. When something doesn't, you'll know what to change. And this alone can double or triple your results in marketing if you try things and test things and tweak things for long enough. I often hear people say, oh, I've tried that and it didn't work for me. Really? Did it not work for you, or did you not test it for long enough? So I just really want you to think of that in terms of that marketing pantheon that I've also just mentioned. This is what I teach my clients. If you have a short-term strategy to get clients from the 3%, and you get that working, you maximize, optimize, and systemize it, then you can add a long-term strategy to your business. So a long-term strategy would be targeting the rest of the stadium who aren't ready. They've got different steps that they need to go on. You take that long-term strategy, you get that working, then you add another strategy. And eventually, when you have enough pillars that are bringing in leads and bringing in new business, then you've built a pantheon. And this is what I actually teach in my Nail It and Scale It program, because ultimately, if one pillar falls down, then you still have others that are holding up the business so that you can escape that feast and famine and that I don't know where my next client is coming from sort of mentality. And this is really important. When I had my agency business, I remember back in 2011, there was one of the biggest algorithm updates to Google ever. I think it was called Panda. And I had, at the time, a lot of clients who we'd built websites for and who we were doing search engine optimization for. They relied on SEO for their clients. They relied on SEO for the traffic, the inquiries, the sales. And this Panda update literally wiped out millions of businesses overnight who relied on SEO. So if you only have one pillar that's working in your business, you're not in a very stable place. It's kind of like the wise man builds his house on the rock. And it's kind of the same when it comes to this. So I want my clients to have a pantheon, because we don't know what's coming. We can't control things. You might be relying on LinkedIn, and then there's going to be another general election in the United States and the whole algorithm changes, or there might be another assassination. I hope not, but these kind of things come at times when you're trying to launch something and all of a sudden your visibility, your reach just gets completely wiped out. So testing, knowing what works, and then building a pantheon so that you can keep adding more pillars to your business. When marketing stops feeling random and stops feeling scattered, you can just breathe a sigh of relief and your business will go into a completely different space and place. I can't tell you how it feels when I go out for a walk and I come back and there's leads that have dropped into the business. It's just the most incredible thing. And when you can have momentum in your marketing, you can experience that relief as well. And sometimes it's not even about adding new things. Sometimes it's about seeing that you're actually trying to do too many things and just aiming your efforts in too many directions. And so simplification is a really great strategy. I always say less is more. And so when you simplify the core offer, when you simplify the core message and you align everything around that, then results can follow without more work. And that's always the goal. That's always what I want my clients to experience. I have a quick coaching prompt for you today if you want to start working on your marketing to triple your marketing impact. I want you to just ask yourself 3 questions, and it's just you, so be honest. What is the one core offer or one core revenue driver that your marketing should be leading to right now? What is the next logical step for someone when they've got that offer? When they've come into your business and they've bought that thing, what is the next logical step for them? And are you strategically planning that out? What are you currently doing that does not support that objective? So if you're doing lots and lots of marketing things, but nothing seems to be working, what are the things that you are doing that are actually not supporting that objective of promoting one core offer, one core message, one core solution to people's problems? That last one is usually where you can find a lot of momentum, by the way. I recently was working with a client who realized that referrals are the biggest source of driver for their business, but they didn't have a formal strategy in place. So we've stopped doing all the things that were taking up all the time and energy that were not producing results, and we've started focusing on a referral strategy. And I'm telling you, referrals are a massive underdog in the marketing world. In my Nail It and Scale It program, I teach 21 lead generation strategies to my clients. Referrals is one of my favorite. So you don't need to post more, you don't need to hustle more creating content. In fact, fewer things working on purpose is where your momentum is going to come from. Now, if I can help you out and if that's resonated, then as I mentioned, I've got the Marketing Momentum ebook that you can download in the description box. There's a link. It's completely free, even though I've been told I really should charge for it. And I've had some amazing feedback from people on that. I like strategic insights that are easy to action, so it's not very long at all. And the guide is going to walk you through how to design your marketing around where your audience actually is, as I mentioned, how to stop chasing just the 3% and target the entire market so that you can have even more marketing reach, and also just how to build momentum with some marketing tactics and ideas in there as well. So download it, read it, and then decide what deserves your energy next. And if you are still with me, I just want to say thank you for supporting this video. I've just started this YouTube journey, so it's very interesting and fun to me. I'm enjoying these freeform videos, which hopefully show raw, real, authentic, rather than AI generated content. And if you could do me a favor, if you could subscribe, like, or even leave a comment on the video, because then I know that people are watching and it'll spur me on to continue creating content like this.